Great teams. Great teams. Game's overdone. We have won. Game's overdone. We have won 6-0. I'm going to go through all the stats and everything as we go into this pre-game. Sorry, post-game. We're into the post-game right now. Canada winning 6-0 if you didn't find out. But going back into the shop. Voodoo Pork Chop 6. Absolutely, bruv. Rich says, shorts around the Honduras ankles. Yeah, lit into the shop. Voodoo Pork Chop 6. Absolutely, bruv. Rich says, shorts around the Honduras ankles. Yeah, literally. First half, 3 goals. Second half, 3 goals. Pretty much kept the same nucleus of team. Substitutions in the second half. And I tell you, comprehensive performance, comprehensive entertainment. You're not going to get better than that. I tell you now, guys, great night for everybody. And the guys that needed to score, scored goals, yeah? The fans in the crowd had a great time. And right now in BC, it's about, let me think, 9:30? Yeah, it's 9:30 in BC. And it's probably 12:30 down east in Toronto time. Further east, it's even later. But, hey, 6-0 on the day. Got to be happy with that. Back into the chat. Trout. I don't know if I ever enjoyed a Team Canada match more. Going to say that one more time, guys. I don't know if I ever enjoyed a Team Canada match more. Yeah, you got me thinking. I mean, Honduras are literally walking off defeated, blown out of the water. No sails left on the boat. In fact, the boat has been blown out of the water. That's what they look like, walking off the field. You see teams defeated walking off, they look like they got thrashed at everything. And that's good, because that 8-1 that everybody remembers from the failed qualification that ended in Honduras, San Pedro Sula, well, now 6-0 is the headlines tomorrow in Honduras. Or if you're saying June the 18th being today when you see this, hey, Honduras' main news was caused by Canadian soccer. Their main news tomorrow is Canadian soccer. Canada destroys Honduras. That's the main news tomorrow. Did you really think that could happen before the game? Maybe a 1 or a 2-0? I said 2-0. But 6-0 is an earthquake. And all around the world, like I told you, they're going to be listening to that tomorrow. And as they get closer to this World Cup coming through, people are going to start saying, we don't want to be in the group with Canada. No. And if we keep getting results like this, they're going to be worried as the World Cup comes along that Canada may possibly be a team that can go further than just a group. And right now, in the Gold Cup, 6-0, biggest score so far in the tournament, not scored on. Dane St. Clair gets a shutout. The rest of the teams looking are saying they're hitting form right now. Have we peaked too early? Have we peaked too early? I say no. Clearly, 100% not. We can still keep this level, keep the mojo, moving through the tournament and do well. I say Canada should literally finish top 4, minimum. Top 4 is where it should be. That's where it is. If not a top 4 finish, we failed. Simple. Ask yourself inside. Not just your heart, but inside. You see Canada not getting to the top 4, the final 4? I do. 3 other teams. Let me know what your other 3 teams are that you think are going in the top 4, the final 4, semi-finals. You've seen already Jamaica possibly slipping by the wayside. Guatemala taking them out. So the final 4 is going to be very, very interesting. I'm going to go to the stats here pretty soon, guys, as we hear on the post-game. But 6-0 on the Knights. Going into the chat, guys. Trout says, almost guarantees us to get through the group stage after one game. It pretty much does. Goals basically bring prizes. Prizes are points in the group stage. Goals make the prizes happen. If you don't score, you get 1. So this game, if you say your El Salvador and your Curaçao doesn't do anything at all in this group, we're already through. Great point. Voodoo Pork Chop, really proud of this team and nation. Lots of starters sat today. And this shows us the internal competitive attitude. Brilliant, man. Brilliant. Absolutely. Our level right across the board. You just said it. Our level right across the board. On the field, on the bench, sitting in the crowd, watching the game. There's a parity there. There's a parity there. Sitting in the crowd tonight was Alfonso injured. Yeah, I'm just saying. And also Sami Adekugbe, injured guys in the crowd. We have a level that we've never had before. And I don't see this level going anywhere. There's a professionalism as well around every single player. We've arrived. And our coaching stuff, not just Jesse Marsh, not just Paulie Stalteri, but especially Paul Stalteri, big man in football, played many years in Europe, knows how to run a club, could even be a manager if he wanted to be. When you get people like that in the board and in the staff, ushering in the new era, the great players we've got, and how to look after them and how to make them gel into a winning commodity, that's what we got. It's took years to get there. But when did you ever see a more complete performance than this in your damn life? Like I say, for the Gold Cup, we're filled with lots of positives out of tonight. The squad is going to build. And whoever comes to play us next will be fearing what we just did to Honduras. 6-0. Anybody plays us now, they're going to be worried before the ball is even kicked because they won't know what's going to happen and they won't know how many we're going to score. And we're talking about Canada here. We're not talking about France. We're not talking about Argentina. We're certainly not talking about England. And we're not talking about La France. Yeah? We're talking Canada. And the amazing level that we are sitting at right now after that convincing performance. Let me give you the stats, but let me have a drink. Like I say, I tell it how it is, guys. And I thank every one of you tonight for being in that chat and being who you are, because you make this so much worth it. Without you in the chat, without the friends in the chat, without the family in the chat, wouldn't be the same. Wouldn't even be close. Because I'd be like a junkyard dog screaming in the junkyard to myself with nobody around. So there you go. It's beautiful to have you in. Now I'm going to take you through the stats because it is the post game. And hey, any questions I'm going to get to in the chat, guys. So stick with us. If you got to go to bed, then sign out. And I'll tell you what, you earned it. Because it might be really late where you are, yeah? Anywhere around the world, in fact. Because we have people watching from all over the world right now. You'd be crazy to think not. Anyway, going through the stats, I'll be kind. I'm going to go Honduras first. Team stats, Honduras, 7 shots on goal, of which they got 4 on target. It's pretty good. 46% possession overall. So that's not bad. Pass accuracy, 79%. Fouls, 12. No yellow cards. I can't believe how Escobar never got one out. But then again, I did warn you about Escobar, didn't I? And I was very kind, and I was spot on. And I wasn't sarcastic too much. Corners, 3. So now looking at Canada. 20 shots on net, 9 on target. That's pretty good. Possession, 54%, so we outshaded it. But as was pointed out by you guys, counterattack, and that's what we did. 412 passes to 357, 12 fouls to 12, so that was even across the board. No yellows, no red cards, 5 offsides. Remember the first half? Richie Larea was offside 3 times, so he can get a little talking to about timing. But hey, when you win 6-0, it's not so bad. But you got to correct the little things and make it even better and even bigger. Corners, 3-3. Score, 6-0. And if you're just tuning in, Canada literally put an earthquake out there. Blew Honduras off the continent. Starts off with Nico Sigo, 27 minutes. Then Tani Oliosei on 45 minutes plus 2. Tejon Buchanan bags a brace, 48 minutes and 65. Promise Akimpelu on 75. And he's got David on the back of the shirt. And Nathan Saliba on 90. And I tell you what, convincing performance. You're not going to find better than that. We literally owned the game, start to finish. And as I'm going through the league right now, I'm going to get you into the standings. Just going to back out there. One moment, guys. We'll be there shortly. But again, 6-0 on the night. And you're not going to get much better than that. Not going to get much better than that. I'm going to bring this up again. There we go. So, like I say, there's the stats, there's the game. At the end of it, going into the chat right now. Trout, I think Canada is in perfect position in relation to the World Cup. I agree with that. I think as you've got that year still to go in the World Cup coming to us, we've got a year to just perfect what we've got. And I mean, look, we're not far off the mark here. You could bring some big teams into Canada, play Canada right now during that World Cup. And like I said a few minutes ago, people don't want to play us. When the World Cup gets here, we're 30 in the world, possibly 29 tomorrow, so keep your eyes on the FIFA rankings. But as we get closer to that World Cup moving forward, people are not going to want to play us. Hey, by the way, if you didn't watch the live watch-along, you should watch the next one. We got loads more shirts coming out. But listen, we are hitting peak. We've got to stay at this level. All the great teams around the world do not have a problem at staying at their level simply because they have top-line players. We now have top-line players. Even players like Seager coming in and trying to demand he owns a starting spot. And with a performance like that, who can argue? Look at the guys we had on the bench, the top liners. Didn't impact this game. They weren't playing. And we banged 6 goals in against Honduras. Look around the world. I keep saying this. Look around the world. We are making earthquakes. And earthquake number 1 recently, Ukraine 4-2. Going back into the chat. Rich, we just have to push this aside and smile. Instills confidence, so you're only as good as your last game. Let's build. Let's be proud. Brilliant point. Brilliant point. Brilliant point. And that's what you guys do all night long, is bring out the points. Absolutely brilliant. Rich, top draw, mate. Top draw. I'm going to read that again. Push it aside like it didn't happen, but take the confidences out there. That's what Rich is saying. It instills confidence, and it really does. Winners win. We picked up a little trophy. Or as somebody said on the pre-game, the preview to the rankings and what I said was going to happen in it, a nothing burger. I don't think the 2025 Canadian Shield is a nothing burger. It was a funny phrase. I didn't say it. Reese did, and it was funny at the time. But we've won a trophy recently. That becomes infectious. It becomes a bit of an addiction. When you win one, you want more. It's the same old adage, that soccer song they sing around the world. Score, come on, score. Once you get one, you'll get more. We'll sing you at assembly when we get to Wembley. So come on, you did and score, right? So scoring goals, it's all about the game. Richie, push it aside. Totally agree. As he said, you're only as good as your last game. Let's build. Let's be proud. I'll tell you what, I'm proud as punch. These guys are building. And this was a tremendous way to get new guys time in a top flight game and have everybody come out shining. I can't remember a game like this for Canada where we didn't have the top line going up against the top nations from Latin America, yes, Central America, and blow them aside like they did. Can't remember it. I can't remember it. I really can't. With top liners, there's a few games that are 4-1s. The last one against Honduras was with a big team and with big players, 4-1. This is 6-0 without the big lines. Just saying. Take that to the bank. And do you think anybody really came out of this game knackered, worn out, not ready to go next match? No, I think they do. I think the competitive spirit in this team is literally pushing each other to another level with every match. Bang, bang, as we climb higher, 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 higher. You see professional clubs. You see national teams. You won't see what we've got. This is something very special. It's very special. There's a blend to getting it right. And if you remember 4 years ago, before Johnny Herdman's time, yeah, the CSA was looking to get it right. The CSA might not get much acclaim and much pats on the back, maybe kicks in the arse. But for what we're doing on the field, I think you have to say the organization is getting something right. And I got a big smile in my face, the Cheshire Cat smile. It's been there all night long with this game. It's been there for months. It's been there basically since we qualified for the 2022 World Cup. And that was a ride. And this is going to be a ride in the Gold Cup. We still got that next World Cup coming too. all in short time. We've got a fun bonanza packed for 1 year to come, with the Gold Cup and a World Cup coming. And if we could go there with another trophy, wow, that sends another message. That sends an absolute message to the world. So I'm going to say this much. Tomorrow, when you're thinking about this game, think about the next one. Think about the team. Think about who you want to see on there. How important is that next game to put out the top line? El Salvador, Curaçao. Do we need to put out the top line and risk injury to top players as we move through? Because we need to get this team and this squad from here at this point into the World Cup healed or not injured. No suspensions. Everybody on the same page. Because right now we have set that platform. That platform that we saw in this game, that is the level to absolutely break out of a group that we've never done at a World Cup. This recipe is absolutely the recipe, in my opinion, to be at least a round of 16 team at a World Cup. What happens game to game in a knockout round? Well, that's the knockout round. Anything's possible. And if we get there at this level at a World Cup next year, where it's 39 days with loads of rest in between, hey, sky's the bloody limit. Sky is the bloody limit. Going into the chat, guys. Mildly fun. Nice to see you. Welcome in. Remember, like, subscribe, hit the notifications. CONCACAF isn't strong enough. I love that. I love that. I love that, mate. Love it. Love it. We couldn't have said that years ago, but I'm loving that, mate. CONCACAF isn't strong enough. What a statement. What a statement. Holy shamoly. You couldn't have said that 10 years ago. We would not have even dreamt of saying that, the senior crew. We would never have dreamt of thinking that 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. It never was a thought. That is reality. That is today. And that's more than mildly fun, my friend. That's genius. Rich, we just have to push this aside. Like he says, mildly fun. I think we need tougher competition if we're going to make an impact in the World Cup. We just bazookaed Ukraine 4-2 as well. I mean, you know, there's not much more that can come our way apart from, say, the top 15. And that'll come during a World Cup for sure. Oh, for sure. For sure. Going back in there. Voodoo Pork Chop. Possession is a stat that I don't give much weight to anymore. I'm going to stay with that. And I'll get back to more. Possession is a stat that I don't give much weight to anymore. I'm going to stay with that. And I'll get back to more. Possession is a stat I don't give weight to anymore. I absolutely agree with that. Years ago, with soccer, possession told you who literally owned the game. Nowadays, in the modern game, with the counter-attacking system, hey, possession football just means you had the ball more and you did nothing with it. It doesn't tell a story. Years ago, your possession did. That's where the stats and the stories really have got to be, in a sense, stats are great, but sometimes stats for stats just end you up with nothing. But I do love that point. Voodoo Pork Chop, possession is a stat that I don't give much weight to anymore. I agree. I'm the same way. One more time. A good team, furthermore, Voodoo Pork Chop, guys, a good team will give the possession time to expose a team on counters. Take advantage of the opponent's mistakes. Brilliant. That is the art of the game. Absolutely. Let them make mistakes. Counterattack swift. 6 goals in the back of the net later. It's lovely. 19 played awesome. Beautifully. Yes. 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 I'll tell you what. We had everybody going. And like I say, if you're just tuning in, guys, we finished 6-0 on the night. Goals from Siga, Oliwasei, Buchanan 2, Akimpelu, and Saliba. I'll tell you what's fantastic. And Saliba, like Nelson, Saliba's 19. Saliba, like Nelson in the last game, played a great game with the pickup and the link-up play. and obviously foraged on a mistake in front of the box. Cuts right, cuts left, cuts right, finishes left, and sweeps the ball beautifully into the far corner. Yeah, Saliba, another keeper. I was singing Nelson's praises last game. Saliba is another keeper. And overall, your man of the match, Tajon Buchanan, 2 goals on the night. Great performance, especially with them long throws. Yes. And can't he throw the ball long, eh? But you got to say, back into the chat, guys. Rich, you play and assess after 45 minutes game management. Yeah, absolutely. 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 Voodoo Pork Chop, one more time. CSA was an old boys club. It's got it right now. You know, it was an old boys club. And back in the day, when I showed you, let me have a look here. When I opened up the show and I showed everybody that's 2004, my first ever Canadian pass. That's 2004. John Brown was the man in charge back then. Such a classy name, John Brown. Very exotic. Yeah, John Brown, Scotsman. And he was in charge. And I remember announcing the game, talking the game. And I said to him, I said, are you going to be able to pay my check? Or am I getting stiffed? Because I've been stiffed in football a few times. Oh, it happens. You can announce a game, you're still not getting a check. You get stiffed once in a while. You don't take it personal. You're watching the game for free is the way I see it when it goes like that. So, but yeah, CSA was an old boys club. Nowadays, definitely got it right. Definitely a different situation. And as I said back then, people at the top in football back then were securing their mortgages, securing their next car, but they weren't securing anything great in football, soccer for this nation. You can take that to the bank. Don't have to say too much. CSA was an old boys club. Francois Pitre, big up Francois. Bonjour, monsieur. How you doing, my friend? Our Group B is weak. You know, there's a couple of groups that are on the weaker side. Mexico literally has a weak group too. So, yeah, our week is definitely group. But, hey, what can you say? Everybody deserved the right to be there. There's more teams in every competition coming through. Do I agree with 48 teams at the World Cup? No, not for a minute. Yes, I've been told by a lot of guys, oh, but we got a better chance of getting out of the group. Yeah, of course we do. Because you're bringing in the minnows, real minnows. But a 32-team World Cup, man, that's shorter, condensed, quicker, month and it's done, not 39 days. And you're going to see some blowout scores at that World Cup. You're going to get C scores at a World Cup that you haven't seen before. So when Infantino said back then, I want to take it to 48 teams, it's okay to design something and to think about building something, but it always comes with hidden agendas and hidden angles that you never thought about because you've never been there. 32 teams to 48. That's a 50% increase on teams participating. Just think about that. One quick swig, sorry. Claude, bonjour, Claude. Great game, did what we had to do and made a statement doing it. Totally did. And wasn't it fun? I mean, you can watch a game. The first half, we're 3-0 up, yeah? But it kind of like, I said in the pregame, 23 to 25 minutes, somewhere in there, we get the first goal. We did. Moving on, the second 2 goals came along. But the first 20, 30 minutes, it wasn't flowing where you thought, wow, we're in this. It just came alive. Second half, literally, I'm going to say it. We blew Honduras's boat clean out of the water. No sails and all, not even a mast. It was gone, not invisible, blown up. And that was the second half that finished it off. It was a fantastic performance. If you're up late, it was great to see it because it kept you on your toes. A game traditionally against Honduras back in the day would have finished 0-0 and we would have been falling asleep after 20 minutes. What a difference. Back into the chat. Trout says, I'm heading out. Love the live stream, Soccer Steve. Looking forward to the next one. Big up, mate. Get loads of sleep. Too bad the Edmonton Oilers did what they did and lost again to the same team. But maybe next year, 3's lucky. 3's my favorite number. Francois Pitre, Suriname are not bad at all. I tell you, team that could pull more surprises, and also Guatemala, look at them. The confidence they've got coming off that 1-0 win against Jamaica. I'll tell you, there's another team. And let's face it, El Salvador, yeah? They could be a team that could spring a surprise, yeah? Guatemala we know about. So this, it's not so straightforward. But yes, you have to agree, we do have a easier group than per se, maybe most, maybe not. Francois Pitre and Dominican Republic got no defense, but they have talent up front. Yes, absolutely. Literally, if the seesaw is the Dominican, they're doing this. They're great up top, but they're woeful at the back. Canada would still top Group A. Yeah, I agree so. Yep. If we were in Group A, I agree with that. We do top Group A, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Back up to you, Rich. Thanks, Steve. Bedtime for this old midfielder. Thanks for tonight, and always, yes, thanks for the cleats in Kelowna, Vernon, yeah, Kimberley, and the beers in between. Big up, Rich. Have a great sleep. See you next game. Francois Pitre one more time. Claude probably, but Costa Rica could mess things up. Yes. A lot of people haven't really give Costa Rica the credit, respect they deserve. I do. You know, even when Costa Rica is a wounded animal, they can still come out and pull it. It's a football nation. They know how to operate. They know how to game manage. They know how to use the referee. And if you notice tonight, Honduras knew how to use Escobar, yeah? That's why it got the way it did. When you speak the same language, Espanol, and the other team's not speaking Espanol, they're speaking Inglés. And the referee doesn't speak Inglés, he speaks pretty much mostly Espanol because he's from Guatemala. You can own the ref easier. And that's what happens tonight. But what I told you, take to the bank, as soon as you put the first goal in, the referee then is invisible. And we put 5 more in on top. Loving it. Back into the chats. Claude says, Francois Pitre maybe, but we'd be on top. This is arguably the best group of players Canada has ever had. I'm going to read that again, Claude. This is arguably the best group of players Canada has ever had. Très bien, mon ami. That is absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Very good. On the money, Claude. You got it. Pitre, yes, it's Canada. It's CX Canada. Canada. Best squad. Yes, absolutely. Voodoo Pork Chop. Here we go. I will call it. Canada will not give up a goal in the group stage. You know, you got a great point there. You got a great point. Honduras had a few times where they could have done something tonight, but they didn't. You know, the first half, like I say, was contested, 3 goals either side at half time, but I think Honduras were more of a team in the first half and then came alive in the last 5 minutes because they knew that come the headlines in Honduras, in less than 12 hours' time, they are getting nailed to the floor. And that ship that got blown out of the water, there'll be no evidence that it was ever there. They're going to get done. And I hope, on the flip side of that, that the measly, terrible Canadian press, apart from One Soccer and soccer people that talk soccer, but the measly press attention that this club national team gets. I hope tomorrow they wake their asses up and talk glowingly about the national team gets. I hope tomorrow they wake their asses up and talk glowingly about a great result, about a nation getting ready for a World Cup, but more importantly, getting rid of the 8-1 for a 6-0 overturn. That's 13 goals difference. They won't talk about it. They won't cover it because you're not paying them money. But if you pay them money, they talk about Canada all night long like junkyard dogs because the media in this country, they play for dinero like everywhere else, but they play for dinero. And they're scared of football. They're scared of soccer in this country ever muscling into number 1. Just saying. But they won't talk about this. But if they do, I'd love it. I'd love it. So would you. Back into the chat. But hey, I'm going to say, Voodoo Pork Chop, not a goal in the group stage. Not a goal in the group stage. I hope you're right, mate. That'd be lovely. That also sends messages. Clean sheets are what title-winning teams are based on. If you don't get scored on, you're a team moving forward, and you're going to be one of the big teams, and you'll be contesting that silverware at the end of the tournament. No goals against. That's where it starts. And when you bang 6 in on your first game, boom, Earthquake City, baby. We just sent a lightning rod right through this tournament. Watch the big clubs. Mexico, Panama, USA. Watch them look at that score and go, okay, better get ready. Back into the chats. Claude, I'm hoping we can actually bring this cup home. Yeah, man. Me too. Me too. Win one, win more. It becomes a habit. The great teams, league teams, talk about your favorite league team, whatever your favorite team is. When they win the league, they look to win more. When they win a cup, a domestic trophy, it could be the FA Cup, it could be the Deutsche Pokal, it could be the King's Trophy in Spain. Once you start winning trophies, it becomes addictive. We've got players around the world that win things. When they come home, they're bringing that winning mentality. When you win 6-0, the confidence goes through the roof, but not overconfidence, not overconfidence, and not complacency. That's not what you're getting out of this team. No. They could have won tonight 10-0, and they'll have the same rapport, the same work ethic tomorrow when they get an easy rest day, getting ready for another half training day, getting ready for the next game. The mental state of this club is on the top draw. Literally, back into the chat. Claude says, Tejon is playing like the old Tejon. Davies isn't even playing neither Bombito. Absolutely. And I said earlier on, are we a better team with Alphonso Davies or without him? Because I say this, with Alphonso Davies, he literally negates two players wherever he is because he tries to be the Canadian Superman and take on 5 guys all in one go, or draw all the attention into his zone, which literally shifts the team out of place because they're trying to accommodate him and his function into his zone, which literally shifts the team out of place because they're trying to accommodate him and his forays. He's a defender. He goes forward, loses the ball. Someone's got to cover that back. Now, you know that guys are shifting in to help each other no matter what. But you saw tonight, everybody played their role. No one was out of position. So, question, are we a better team with Alphonso or without him? It's absolutely been gunning through my mind for the last couple of years. I love him, but I would say as the coach, Jesse Marsch needs to reel him in and say, listen, this is your zone. Stick in here, be great in your zone like you do at club football, but don't take on too much. And don't think that you're Pele. You don't have the feet of a god of football. You're a decent player, but you're not a god. You can't take on 5 guys every time without the fries and get to goal. That's what I'm saying. Back into the chat. Claude says, getting back. Francois Pitre. So had Haiti could not beat the Saudi, Haiti dominate the whole game, but could not score. Absolutely. Absolutely. Team built on defense gets a lucky 1-0 win, in my opinion. However, Saudi should be the second team going through. Just saying. Claude says, Francois Pitre agreed. Haiti losing to Saudi Arabia is what gives CONCACAF a bad name and makes us look weak. Absolutely. Absolutely. Back to Francois. Saudi Arabia got their ass kicked by Haiti, but their best striker is injured. They have a few players out. Saudi does not come with a big team. That's for sure. Before Voodoo Pork Chop, these guys are playing for each other. Nice to see. Absolutely. Absolutely. The unity, the running, the pressing, literally nobody was standing still. When you see a team that's not really gearing for each other or gulling for each other, they're not gunning at all, you see people walking. You see a lot of guys walking. If you're not in the game, you see a lot of guys walking because that flow is not there. When you have the effort, when you have that togetherness that these guys have got, I'll tell you what, man, all legs were pumping. And Honduras, let's put it this way. If this was a boxing match, okay, we literally took 9 rounds out of 10. And every 9 we won, we literally had them on the ropes. And they may have won 1 round where it was just their round. And I mean just their round. So again, if it was a boxing match, we'd have literally knocked them around for 9 rounds out of 10 and took all the wind right out of their sails. Back into the chats. Voodoo Pork Chop says, Davies for Canada needs to play up front. That's an idea. He tries to do too much. Yes. The only person who can make him accountable is David. Yes, absolutely glorious. On the money, Voodoo. On the money, Voodoo Pork Chop says it how it is. Put him up top. You want to be a man beater? Get up there. Get up there. Even Tuchel, when he was at Bayern München, said, no. You're not as good as you think you are back there. You do your job. I'm the boss. You stay where I tell you. Yeah? That's where you see the great leagues, Bayern München and Alfonso, when he plays there, you get to know what he can do and what he's not allowed to do. Different team now, yeah? Tuchel's obviously gone to a different place. Maybe he regrets that. Maybe he'll regret it in the future. But again, I like it. Voodoo Pork Chop. Davis of Canada needs to play up front. That, I would say, would be an idea. If you would say, put him on the wing, I'd put him there. I wouldn't put him in the middle because he can't think quick enough. He's a great athlete. He's got great speed. He's got great feet. But he don't think enough. And he don't think quick enough, in my money. He has that deer in the headlights syndrome once in a while where he looks absolutely confused at what's going on split second. If you look closely, you'll see it. You really will see it. But put him on the wing. I'd do that. Then that relieves the loss of space in behind the back four or in behind the midfield, yeah? Because as he comes through, he's like a vortex. He pushes people out of position, so people have got to go to different parts of the field to accommodate him going where he wants to go. And he doesn't go on a tic-tac-toe or a regular run. He seems to go where he wants to go. He'll go down the wing straight. Watch him go down the wing straight and run into a cul-de-sac of players. Too many times I've seen that. That's why I say he needs talking to. He needs reeling in. And he needs to give a mission. Give him a mission, what he can complete. Keep it simple, because great players love simple missions. Jonathan David, great player. Simple missions. Look at the numbers he scores. Does he look like the world's best player every time you see him? No. But you look at his numbers, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Back into the chats. Claude says, who do we have? Dane or Max for your starting keeper? I like Max, but Dane came up big today. What do you say? Great question. Let me have a swig. Claude, that's a brilliant question. Oh, I tell you. I had a fantastic day today, guys, before I got in here. It was beautiful, sunny, no rain. So I knew we were in for a good day, because when it really does hammer down with rain anywhere near me, I know the game's going to go bad. Do you know how many rainy days I had in CONCACAF before we got great? We're talking like 30 years before the last 5. Anywho, going back to Claude. This is excellent. Who do we have? Dane or Max for your starting keeper? He's asking me. Furthermore, Claude says, I like Max, but Dane came up big today. What do you say? This is what I say. We have a collective great core of goalkeeping. Yeah, we really do. Let's not forget Bojan did some great work for us in the past, but I was glad when we relieved him of his duty and brought in the next generation. Next generation, Maxi Crepeau would have been streets ahead of anybody else a couple of years ago had he not broke the leg. Yeah, and I felt so sad prior to the World Cup when he did. Down there in Los Angeles, I'm sure you all saw it. Horrific. He should never have come for the ball. He was fed a hospital ball by the defender, which was never going to get there. And Maxime, being the man he is and giving you 100%, raced out for the ball when he should never have done it. And the collision happened. As we all know, it's history now. But he's come back. I'll tell you what. I do like Dane St. Clair. I really do. And it's a fine line to pick between the two, between Dane St. Clair and Maxime Crepeau. But I have to say, edging it, and he can still get better, but edging it, I go with Maxime Crepeau. I do. Dane is getting closer and closer and will be a number one eventually. I'm pretty sure of that. But I would edge my bets. I'd put Max in and keep Dane on the bench. But I'd also do one thing as well. Throughout this group stage, I would rotate the keepers. So you give fair play to both keepers. They both get 1 or 2 games, yeah? And they have confidence. And they feel good about themselves. And you keep them alive. A keeper that gets no time is dead. It comes on cold. The mojo's not right. So looking after this squad and the blend, it's very important. Jesse keeps it right. He's done so far pretty damn good. He's brought new players in. Nelson, Bassong, and a few others. Yeah. It's a point of, with the keepers, keep them happy. But I would go with Maxime Crepeau if you ask me which is my number one, as you just did. Francois Pitre, in answer to that, I prefer Max, but it's close. Well, he said what I said, but he said it a lot quicker. He should be in the media. Voodoo Porkchop, Max steps up in bigger games. Yeah, you know, that Ukraine game, a whole string of games that Max pulled off that really, if he hadn't, that game has a different complex and it finishes a different scoreline, yeah? But again, at the end of the day, we have great goalkeeping. We scored 6 tonight, don't get scored on. That is a great night in the books for your defense. Midfield, I can't count how many times we intercepted the ball, and the interceptions should, by all rights, be on any stat sheet. When these stat sheets come out, they need to start putting interceptions on. And what half the interception was won. It would give you a good feel for how well midfield was intercepting things each half. Also shows you the flow of the game. But we intercepted in midfield so many balls where we're reading the play. And that takes intelligence. It takes energy. It takes the legs. It takes unity. Everybody was hunting like packs. When we didn't have the ball, we're hunting like packs to get it back. We were ball hungry all night. You don't see many teams do that. Not all night long. And I know, Jesse March likes to press, and sometimes you get caught back in. But even when we got caught out for space up top, we always had guys at the back to clear the mess. We never had a problem. And Honduras is not the best team in the world, ranked 75 in the world, but they are big enough on their day to provide problems. They didn't. They really didn't. And Dane St. Clair didn't have much to do. The defense did what they did brilliantly. And then you got to say, up top, we put 6 in for 5 different players. Tajon Buchanan comes out, top man of the match, 2 goals. Another great performance by Canada. Missed a broken leg from a couple of years ago. Great over there in Europe. Getting all that experience, becoming a man where he was not the full man. He is the man. He's putting the pressure on the big guys. Jonathan David, look across. Tajon Buchanan is in the same stature pretty much coming up. You could look around in defense. Bombito wasn't there. I love watching Bombito in defense. He wasn't there. Just hear those names. Look at the rest of the games. And again, I'm going to say it. In the group stage, we do not need to put out our top line every match. Save that for at least game 3. And then moving into your first game in the quarterfinals. That's what I'm saying. Going back into the chat, guys. Voodoo Porkchop, one more time, I'm going to say Max steps up in bigger games. Voodoo Porkchop, sorry, is basically saying that's his difference. He steps up in the big games. Claude back in chat. Saliba has inserted himself into this squad seamlessly. Oh, yeah. I love that. And he has. He really has. Everybody, Saliba has inserted himself into this squad seamlessly. What are your thoughts about him? On the game, like his feet, like his brain. I like his intensity. I like his personality. I like his confidence. I like the way he literally played tonight like he'd been there for at least 3 to 4 years. He did not look out of place. And as you said, you used the word seamlessly. Exactly. He played tonight like a veteran, like an experienced veteran that had been there a long time. He knew where to pass the ball. He knew where to be to intercept, like I said earlier, first half, second half. We need stats each half on the interceptions moving forward, football people, because his game was complete. And to cap it off, those interceptions first half, second half, it was an interception by him. And skilly feet, chucking left, chucking right, chucking left, and then curling that ball beautifully into the goal. That was all him. Jesse Marsh has big problems, massive problems. Who are you going to upset to play the kid? Nelson's another one. He had a great game last game. Who are you going to upset to put him in? No, you don't have to. You start the big guys in the big games, but you have to think. Saliba and Nelson and a few others right on that bench, raring to come on, raring to do something, raring to put Canada into the next round. We've got players coming off the bench that can make a difference. We never had that before. Didn't happen. Wasn't who we were. That was your big clubs. That was the USA. That was Mexico. Panama possibly on their best day recently. But that wasn't us. It is now. Claude says, I'm bring up Sullivan because I'm impressed with him and never really heard of him before. You know what? There's going to be a lot of Canadian fans out there looking at Saliba thinking, who is he? They know who he is now. I guarantee you as well, they're online checking out what he's done, where he's from, how old he is, how tall he is, what does he weigh? Is he left-footed? Is he right-footed? They'll check everything now. We got too many kids coming through that haven't even hit the top national team. If you look at our U division, the teams under the first team for Canada, we have absolutely a supply line of young kids, but they're big. Years ago, if your average footballer was probably like 5'11", it seems the average kid nowadays is at least 6'1", 6'2". But all these kids are big with touch, and they're all being guided into playing football with their brains. So the future for this nation looks absolutely top draw. But again, Saliba, I totally think he's one for say. He's a keeper. I'd literally use Saliba in the next game, bring his confidence up. Nelson might be another one I'd bring in the next game, bring his confidence up. And a few other players tonight. Chaunier, for me, needs to play next game too. Love what he gave. Seager, you could sit if you wanted to, but I'd play him. Literally, if you ask me, I'd start the same team. Maybe not Jonathan David on the top, but I'd start the same team next game. But change out Jonathan David, put him on the bench, and bring in one of the other strikers that needs the time. JD can come in the second half and clear things up if we haven't got a goal. 45 minutes with JD on the field, you pretty much think he's going to get one. So your first half, next game, bring the same team, omit JD, put him on the bench, bring someone else in, and I say what? You get 3 more points. And you keep everybody rotating, and you keep the guys that get lesser minutes happy, and you also, like Saliba, you put him on the field. Francois Pitre, we never had such a great talent pool. We are stacked with young prospects. Francois, we really are. We really are. And I'm loving it because I'll give you a story. I remember sitting down with Dero. Yeah, Dwayne De Rosario. A few years back when he was still playing. And it was a training situation, Team Canada. And I used to just sit down with anybody and talk to anybody. I've never been what you would say starstruck or awestruck. We're all the same. Doesn't matter what we do. Whether you lay bricks, whether you install electric items, whether you install satellite systems, whether you work at a hospital, whatever you do, we're all the same. But I would sit down to Dero once in a while and I'd just talk the game. And he would drop bombs with me. Like he would say things that he would never say to the press. And I won't discuss anything bad what he did say because he's class and I got his back. But what we've got now with talent pool, like Francois is just saying, that we are stacked with young prospects right now. Dero said back then, what you see is what we got. This is it for the nation. We do not have anything coming through. We do not have young kids out in Europe making it big like they are now. We don't have the money, the promotions like you got now. We don't have a TV station that'll back us. One Soccer will do it for you, yeah? There's also games that land on Sportsnet, land on TSN, RDS. We do now. They didn't then. So when you think about where we were, where we come from, we're stacked with players, we're stacked with everything. Just remember, your great players like Dero, they didn't have it like we did, or like we have. That's what I'm saying. Where is number 7? Voodoo Pork Chop. You're talking about Steven Estachio. Got the answer for you right now, bro. Steven is with FC Porto, and they are taking on teams in the FIFA World Club Cup competition. So that's where Stevie is. He may well be back. We'll have to wait and see. But that's where he is. And Alfonso and Sammy are both injured, as you know. So that's where number 7 is. Our famous, was one-time captain of a sorts, but tonight was Jonathan David because the other guys weren't there to captain the team. Question, does Jonathan David stay captain? You just won 6-0. Is that reason to keep Jonathan as captain forever, ever, and ever? Amen. Because let's face it, he is a big player. He is a big number. He's worth lots of dinero. He puts the ball in the back of the net, which is the hardest thing in football to do. Does he become your captain, or where does it go? What are you thinking? That's what I'm saying. Claude says, Francois Pitre agreed, and Marsh has done an outstanding job convincing dual nationals of pledging to the Maple Leaf. Yes. And you know what? I say this, Claude, and Francois, and everybody watching, listening. Remember, like, subscribe, join the channel, get in here. Next game coming up is the next Canada game at the Gold Cup. But I say this, convincing dual nationals. You need a piece of pie. You need a nice piece of pie to eat and enjoy. I love apple pie. You need a nice apple pie and you need some nice cream on top. You need to attract someone to eat it. Now, what is that apple pie and what is the cream and what am I attracting you to? Well, the apple pie and the cream is attracting you to a big event. That's the World Cup next year. I guarantee you, in fact, I'll tell you straight, everybody he talked to, dual nationals, said, you do realize that Canada's getting better and better year to year, yeah? And you do realize that we have a competition coming up, the Gold Cup. And the guys will be like, yeah. And then he'll say, and you do realize that we have a full FIFA World Cup where we're going to be a host nation. Yeah. The player says, yeah, I hear that. Well, hear this, says Jesse. Do you want to be part of that? Stone cold, straight-faced, right in your face, right now, camera on. You want to be part of that? Okay. Then this is what I need from you. This is the criteria you must hit. And when you see these young players coming in, the likes of Saliba, the likes of Nelson and the others, yeah? When you see these guys coming in, they know exactly what they have to do, how they have to arrive, and in the moments in the game that they have to excel in, that they've been put into the team and into the squad for that particular purpose in this game. If they excel, then there's a possibility you're going to that World Cup, not just the Gold Cup. So we have 2 massive tournaments to attract those dual nationals that know, well, you know, if I go for Holland instead of Canada, well, I'll be going as a Dutch player. And what Jesse will tell those players is, don't kid yourself for 1 second. Do you really think if you go for Holland or you go for, say, maybe Nigeria or maybe Japan, that you're even going to be the starter? You're going to be on the bench at the most. You could be a starter with Canada if you come this way. So he's going to attract people to the club being Team Canada. He's going to attract people to it, attract people with the carrot and the stick and the tournaments that we are now going through. And adding, we just won the Canadian Shield, taking out the likes of Ukraine, like I said. It all adds into a big picture of how you attract players to your team, into your squad, and have them on the same page as everybody else. Evidently, Canada has everybody on the same page. We haven't missed a beat. Everybody collectively gets along supremely well. And that chemistry, you can't BS chemistry. That chemistry is there for everybody to see. You'd have to be a blind man not to figure out how good Canada and all the players work together. And I worked with a blind man, a Nigerian fella in soccer, and he could see the game through the crowd with the noises. Back into the chat. Okay, yes, absolutely. The one thing we have to do, define ourselves as a nation at that World Cup. That's what we have to do, is define ourselves as a nation at the World Cup. We have to get out of the group. That is the absolute top mission as we go into that World Cup. is get out of the group. Breaking history, winning games at a World Cup, that's also something we've yet to do. So we've got to take or shake a few monkeys off the back, get out of the group, win World Cup games, get into that knockout round. And from there on in, with this squad building as it is, I'll tell you what, you're going to see some big teams come to North America and Mexico that are not going to do well. I'm telling you straight. You're going to see some big teams fail at the World Cup. Not necessarily all of them in the group stage, but look for a big team to fail in the group stage. But you're going to see some teams fail that are big in the round robin stage. And then into the knockout stage, more so I should say, they'll fail in the round robin, then into the knockout stage. Elevation, temperature, heat, all sorts of different things, not just at the game. You get dehydrated before you get to the game. If you're not drinking, it's what you do in your prep before the game that helps or negates you during the game. So there's a lot to think about. But World Cup, great showcase. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Guys, I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to slowly cut this down, get it produced, and put it up into a post game. But I do know this much. I have not enjoyed a game like this. I enjoyed the Ukraine game recently and thought, man, have we ever reached a height? And then you get to this 6-0. And you're thinking, Stevie hasn't wiped this face, smile, Cheshire Cat look off his head all night long. And that's going to stay there until the next game. Because I never had this. All the senior crowd in here never had it so good as we're getting it now. We don't see it's going to end because we are solido. It's absolutely solid what we built. You could fail in the business side of things right now, but the quality on the field won't let this team or this nation fail. We've hit the top draw. We've hit the top level, and it can still get better. And with 30 in the world, with a 6-0 win, FIFA rankings are going to get changed here pretty soon again. Get out of the group, add a couple of more wins, get into the round robin, get your group sorted out. Get into the knockout stage, get that sorted out. Top 4 is where we should be. Anything less than a top 4 finish is a failure. We've had a great start. Nothing has been decided, but we've had a great start. And as I look into the stadium completely empty right now, I am reminded of a fun night. More goals than I thought. 3 times the amount of goals. I said 2-0. It's 6-0. But I'm looking at the stadium, and I tell you, I've had a bloody good night. I've had an absolutely sexy night in football. And I can't remember, looking at that stadium, I can't remember when I had a better time. I'm just watching a guy cut the grass around the goals. They're getting ready for the next game. But I can't remember when I had a better time. I hope you had a fantastic time. I hope you enjoyed everything. I'm going to go straight into the chat before we shut down. Claude says, yes, I would leave Jonathan David with the captain's armband. Right on, right on. In my opinion, JD doesn't try to lead. He just does it. Claude, that's brilliant. That is brilliant. Leaders don't try. They just do it. JP, I tell you what, that is brilliant. That is brilliant, Claude. That is brilliant. JD is absolutely just doing it. Doesn't need to prove it. And he gets goals on top. Claude, coming back at you, mate. Brilliant statement. Carl E. Story, big up to you, mate. I'm hoping for a new country to win World Cup. You know, it would be time. It would be time. One of the things I've said for years as well is like, wouldn't it be nice if an African nation got to win a World Cup? I mean, they got some huge players. African nations got some huge players. If they all played on the same team, now that would be an interesting question. If you took one team from each continent, 6 teams, which continent would be the best? It's an interesting question, eh? But 6 continents, one team from each continent, which continent would win or be the best out of those 6 teams? The lights are going down. They're turning off the lights down there. People have had a good time. People are smiling. I can see people smiling there. They're not Canadian fans. They're regular fans, but they're smiling. They've had a good time. I've had a good time, guys. I really have. Francois Pitre, will Mexico play their game at the Azteca? I believe so. Yeah. Carly Story in American. Sorry, I'm American, but would like to see Canada win the Gold Cup. Big up, bruv. Big up, bruv. I tell you what, I have no problem with the likes of Mexico, USA, Canada winning it. Not a problem. Panama also team that you could say could do it too. I have no problems with anybody winning it, but I would say, as a Canadian fan, I would like to see Canada win it. I really would. But at the end of the day, all the teams in the competition will sort out through the group phase. We'll get the top 8 into the quarterfinals. One that might not be making it now, but things can change, is Jamaica. They are on the bubble to slide out in the group phase. They need to tighten up, and they need favors too. But good point there, Carly Story. Loving it. Remember, like, subscribe, guys. Get into this, and remember, get ready for the next game too, because we're coming back at you. Same format, same passionate commentary, the same sarcasm that I always bring, especially to the likes of the referee. Lights are going down in the studio. In the stadium, Still people laughing in that far corner. They're having a hell of a time in that corner. I don't know what they're doing, but they're laughing their butts right off. Into the chats. Oh my God, says Francois Pitre. Mexico playing all their games at Azteca is a huge advantage. Absolutely. Just think if we'd have been able to play all 3 games on our turf. Different story. America is not a problem. Panama's on the road like everybody else. We'll see what shakes down in a few days' time. But for now, things are looking pretty much as they were. Like I say, only Jamaica's the team that's really not doing it. But on the night, it's 6. And on the night, it's 0. And on the night, it's a great job. And on the night, I say thank you to everybody. Claude, coming to you. Do you think Canada now has that ability to win big games and show up like Mexico does? Absolutely. And we can absolutely add one little thing to our makeup. Toughness. We never used to be tough. We were a boxer with a glass jaw, but now we're tough. We are totally tough. So yes, I think we are. And with that, guys, thank you everybody in the family, in the chat tonight. Loved every minute of it. I've got a big tiger in front of me. This is Cabby. Oh, he's facing the other way. You know, you should face the public, mate. There you go. Cabby is a brand new kitty. I've only had him a couple of days, and he was a stray out in the fields, and I felt so sorry for him. So I said, "You've got to come in," and I brought him in. And you know what? He's tame as. And he's got such a nice, wonderful, beautiful character. So if Cabby wants to look around, see if we can get him looking around. He's a lovely kid, guys. Can you speak on the mic? Yeah, speak on the mic. Say something on the mic, buddy. There you go. He does talk. But I wish he wouldn't show people his butt. Anyway, Claude, I do think Canada has the ability to win big games. Claude says, great stream. I'll be back. Good night. Thank you, Claude. Thank you, my friend. Thank you so much. Francois Pitre. Playing Mexico at the World Cup will be a nightmare for European teams. It will. It totally will. And like I say, as we get bigger and better in this, nobody will want to play us either. Nobody. Thank you, everybody. I've had so much fun. Please come back again and allow me to have more fun, because I hope you did too. But hey, on the night, 6-0. Kitty comes in to say hello. Cabby's showing everybody his butt. Hey, butt are no buts. Come back for the game, and I will see you then, guys. Thanks so much. This was a great night. A total